Namaste. I welcome all my dear beloved 8th standard students and all the viewers for today's Samveda e-learning program science class. Dear students, today we are going to discuss the important concepts of the third session of chapter Microorganisms, Friend and Foe. Let us recapitulate what we have studied in the last class. Students, in the last class we studied friendly microorganisms, making of curd and bread, commercial use of microorganisms, medicinal use of microorganisms, importance of microorganisms in vaccines preparation, role of microorganisms in soil fertility and cleaning the environment. In today's class, we are going to study about harmful microorganisms, disease causing microorganisms in humans, in animals, in plants. Also, we are going to discuss about food poisoning, different methods of food preservation, and at the end, nitrogen fixation and nitrogen cycle we are going to discuss. Students, in the earlier classes we have studied the different groups of microorganisms, and also we studied in the last class about friendly microorganisms. In today's class, we are going to study about harmful microorganisms. Students, before starting this session, I will ask you one question. What are pathogens? Can you answer this question? Yes, you are right. The microorganisms that causes diseases in human beings, plants and animals are called as pathogens. So, these microorganisms causes diseases in human beings as well as plants and animals. In this particular session, we are going to study about the microorganisms that causes diseases in human beings, plants and animals. First, let us study about the disease causing microorganisms in human beings. Students, common methods of transmission of diseases in human beings you can observe in this picture. Diseases may spread from one person to another person through direct contact or sometimes through air, sometimes indirect contact through cloth or through the food, sometimes mosquito or other insects, even sometimes rabid animal. So, like this way, from the infected person the disease may transmitted to the healthy person. Students, first let us discuss about the communicable diseases. What are communicable diseases? Yes, you are right. Microbial diseases that can spread from an infected person to the healthy person through air, water, food or physical contact are called as communicable diseases. So, the diseases which transmitted through the air is called as airborne diseases, through water is called as waterborne diseases, through food is called as foodborne diseases. Examples for communicable diseases: cholera, which is caused by Vibrio cholerae, which gets transmitted through food and water. Common cold, it is an airborne diseases. Chicken pox, it is also an airborne disease. Tuberculosis, it is airborne disease. Then of course, COVID-19, which is caused by coronavirus, it is also an airborne disease. Students, you all know that nowadays schools also not started mainly because of this COVID-19, which is an airborne disease, and nowadays we are also maintaining social distance, we are wearing mask mainly because of this particular virus, because this virus is spreading very fast. Students, why should we keep a kerchief on the nose and mouth while sneezing? In this picture you can observe a lady is holding a kerchief on the nose. What is the reason for this? Yes, you are right. When a person suffering from a common cold, when he sneezes, fine droplets of moisture carrying thousands of viruses or microorganisms are spread in the air. The virus may enter the body of a healthy person while breathing and it may cause infection. Students, not only viruses, other bacteria, a fungus also spread in this way and it may enter healthy person's body and also can cause infection. Now, let us study about the diseases transmitted by carriers. Some of the common examples are malaria, rabies, dengue. Malaria is a protozoan disease which is transmitted by Anopheles female mosquito. Rabies is a viral disease which gets transmitted by rabid animal like dog. Dengue, it gets transmitted by Aedes aegypti female mosquito. Students, what are carriers or vectors? Yes, you are correct. Animals carry the infecting agents from a sick person to another potential host. These animals are thus intermediaries and are called as carriers or vectors. Some of the common example for vectors: mosquitoes and housefly. Housefly is the most common carrier. They sit on the excreta of human beings and other animals, and they carry the pathogens, and when they sit on our food, it transfers the pathogenic organisms on our food, and when we eat that food, the disease causing organisms enters our body and may cause infection in us. Some of the common examples for carriers are female Anopheles mosquito, which carries the parasite of malaria, that is Plasmodium. Female Aedes aegypti mosquito as a carrier of dengue virus. Female Aedes aegypti mosquito acts as a carrier of dengue virus. Students, where do these mosquitoes breed? Yes, of course, in this picture you can see mosquitoes reproduce on stagnant water. Students, remember, mosquitoes reproduce on stagnant water, so we should not allow the water to stagnate around us. How can we control the spread of malaria or dengue? Yes, you are correct. Use mosquito net and repellents in homes, spray insecticides, not allowing water to collect in the surroundings. Now, let us study about airborne diseases. Some of the common examples are tuberculosis, which is caused by an bacteria, Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Pertussis or whooping cough, it is also an example for airborne disease. Chickenpox, which is a viral disease, causative agent is varicella zoster virus, and of course poliovirus. These are some of the examples for airborne diseases. Main preventive measures for these airborne diseases are: keep the patient in a complete isolation, keep the personal belongings of the patient away from those of the others, vaccination to be given at a suitable age. These are some of the preventive measures to control the airborne diseases. Next, let us discuss about water and foodborne diseases. These normally gets transmitted when we consume contaminated water or food. Some of the common examples are cholera, typhoid and hepatitis A. Cholera is caused by Vibrio cholerae. Typhoid fever is caused by Salmonella typhi. Hepatitis caused by hepatitis virus. Now let us discuss about the preventive measures. Maintain personal hygiene and good sanitary habits. Consume properly cooked and boiled drinking water. Vaccination. These are some of the preventive measures for water and foodborne diseases. Students, one question for you. It is always suggested that not to eat anything from street hawkers. What is the reason? Yes, you are correct. The reason is most of street hawkers sells food items in an open area which always gets contaminated with the dust and flies carrying germs with them. Such an unhygienic condition led to spoilage of food, which when consumed can lead to serious illness. This is the main reason why we should not eat the food in the roadside. Students, now let us study about disease causing organisms in animals. Most common examples are anthrax and foot and mouth disease. Cattle and sheep are mainly gets affected by these two diseases. First one, anthrax. It's a disease caused by bacterium Bacillus anthracis, which affects human and cattle. What are the symptoms of the disease? Abrupt fever and a period of excitement followed by depression, stupor, respiratory or cardiac distress, staggering, convulsions and even death. Often the course of disease is so rapid that illness is not observed and animals are found dead. This is one of the severe diseases that infect cattle and even sheep and other ruminant animals also. One more disease is foot and mouth disease. It is an viral disease which infects cattle, even sheep and other ruminant animals. What are the main symptoms of this disease? Yes, fever, blisters in the mouth and even on the feet, drop in milk production, weight loss, loss of appetite, quivering lips, frothing of mouth. Cows may develop blisters on teats, lameness. Even though majority of the animals may get recover from this disease, but they become weak. Students, can you answer this question? Name the bacteria that cause anthrax disease. Who discovered it? Yes, you are correct. Robert Koch, a scientist in 1876, discovered the bacterium Bacillus anthracis which causes anthrax disease. Robert Koch, professionally he was a doctor. He isolated and characterized the bacilli of anthrax and tuberculosis and demonstrated their causative role by a series of experiments. Students, his wife given him a microscope as a gift on his birthday. So, he started working on the disease causing germs and he put forward main 4 postulates and it is famous as Koch's postulates. Now, let us study about disease causing microorganisms in plants. First one, citrus canker. This disease is caused by a bacteria Xanthomonas citri. The mode of transmission of this disease is through air. It is an airborne disease which affects the crop yield in citrus plants. Let us see what are the main symptoms of this disease. Premature leaf and fruit drop, twig dieback, general decline and blemished fruit, blister like lesions on leaves and fruit start small and expand as the disease progresses. These lesions may darken to tan or black and develop a water soaked margin with a yellow halo surrounding it. Second disease is wheat rust disease. This disease is caused by a fungi Puccinia triticina. Students, this fungi mainly affects the leaf of a wheat plant and also causes decrease in the crop yield. Let us see what are the main symptoms of wheat rust disease. Leaf rust attacks foliage only. Identifying symptoms are dusty, reddish orange to reddish brown fruiting bodies that appear on the leaf surface. These lesions produce numerous spores which can cover nearly the entire upper leaf surface. Students, let us discuss about one more very important plant disease, that is bendy yellow vein mosaic disease. This disease is caused by an virus and it gets transmitted by insects. Students, in this disease the veins of the leaf mainly gets affected, hence the name is given yellow vein mosaic disease. Students, let us see what are the main symptoms of this disease. Yellowing of the entire network of veins in the leaf blade is the characteristic symptom of this disease. In severe infections, the younger leaves turn yellow, become reduced in size and the plant is highly stunted. Infection restricts flowering and fruits. The fruits becomes smaller in size and also harder. The leaf completely turns from yellow to white mainly because the veins of the leaf completely gets destroyed by this virus. Now let us discuss about one more very important concept, that is food poisoning. What is food poisoning? Food poisoning is defined as an illness caused by the consumption of food or water contaminated with bacteria or their toxins or with parasites, viruses or chemicals. Food poisoning may cause infection, even serious illness and sometimes death also. So it is very important, food has to be preserved in order to prevent it from gets contaminated by microorganisms. Now let us see important examples of bacteria that cause food poisoning are norovirus, Escherichia coli, Salmonella, Clostridium perfringens, Clostridium botulinum, Campylobacter and Staphylococcus aureus. Students, now let us study about food preservation. What is food preservation? Food preservation is the technique to prevent food spoilage, food poisoning and microbial contamination in food. Now let us discuss what is the main aim of food preservation. Aims and goals of food preservation. Aim of food preservation is to prevent undesirable changes in the wholesomeness, nutritive value or sensory quality of food and reduce chemical, physical and physiological changes of an objectionable nature and eliminate contamination. Let us see what are the important goals of food preservation. The goal of food preservation is to increase the shelf life of a food while keeping it safe, so that it ultimately ensures its supply during times of scarcity and natural drought. Now let us discuss about some of the common methods of food preservation techniques. Common methods are chemical method, preservation by common salt, preservation by sugar, preservation by oil and vinegar, heat and cold treatments. Now let us study one by one. First one, chemical method. Chemical method of preservation is done by adding certain chemicals which have the capability of preserving the food. Most common chemicals are used are salt, and the preservation of food by salt is called as salting. What are food preservatives? The chemical substances which are used to check or stop the growth of harmful microorganisms are called as food preservatives. Chemicals like sodium benzoate, sodium metabisulfate prevent microbial attack and are often used to preserve jams, sauces and ketchups. Next, one more method is preservation by common salt. This is an ancient method which is used by the people to preserve meat, fishes, etc. And the method in which we are using salt to preserve the food is called salting. Fishermen apply the salt over the fish and they will dry it under the sunlight. So moisture content absorbed by the salt, even dehydration takes place in presence of sunlight, so that it will increases the keeping quality of the food, that is fish or meat products. Most commonly jellies, jams, even rasgulla, gulab jamuns, these sweet are preserved for a longer period of time in sugar syrups. The concentrated sugar solution check the growth of microorganisms. How is the food preserved from the use of sugar? Yes, you are right. Sugar reduces the moisture content which inhibits the growth of bacteria which spoil food. One more method is preservation by oil and vinegar. Vegetables, fruits, fishes, even meat products are preserved by this method. Oil seals the food from microbial attack. Next, one more method, heat and cold treatments. Now let us discuss about one more method, that is heat and cold treatments. Boiling kills the microorganisms that cannot tolerate extreme temperature. Thus, it helps in food preservation. Even cold treatment like refrigerators have very low temperature. Since microbes do not get optimum temperature they need for growth, and their growth is inhibited. Most common method which we use in our home is pasteurization to preserve the milk. What is pasteurization? Who discovered it? Yes, you are right. Pasteurization technique is discovered by Louis Pasteur. Students, what is pasteurization? Pasteurization is heating of milk and milk particles at about 70 degrees Celsius for 15 to 30 minutes, followed by sudden cooling. Sudden cooling checks the growth of microorganisms. Here main intention is to kill the pathogenic organisms, also to preserve the nutritive value present in the milk. One more method of food preservation is storage and packing. Nowadays, most of the vegetables, fruits available in market which are packed in plastic cover, so that it will be preserved for many days. Students, at the last, let us discuss about one more very important use of microorganisms, that is nitrogen fixation. You have studied in earlier classes rhizobium bacteria. These bacteria found in the root nodules of leguminous plants, and they fix the atmospheric nitrogen which plants cannot take directly from the environment. Now let us study about nitrogen cycle. A nitrogen cycle is an biogeochemical cycle. Even though nitrogen presents 78% in the atmosphere, plants and animals directly cannot consume this nitrogen. In any biogeochemical cycle, there are mainly two stages takes place. One is fixation, second one is recycling. Students, now let us see a small video regarding nitrogen cycle.
Dear students, let us study about nitrogen cycle. I am atmospheric nitrogen. I represent 78% of the atmospheric gases. I am a part of protein, lipid, nucleic acid and vitamins in all living things. I will join the plant and become a protein. Atmospheric nitrogen molecule goes near leguminous plant. My friend, I have come. Pardon, my friend. I can't take the atmospheric nitrogen directly. Plants and animals do not take the atmospheric nitrogen directly. Atmospheric nitrogen needs to be converted into useful nitrogen compound. This process is called as nitrogen fixation. Friend, go near my root. Rhizobium takes shelter in root nodules of leguminous plants. They absorb atmospheric nitrogen. I am rhizobium bacteria. I do nitrogen fixation. I convert the atmospheric nitrogen into an ammonia molecule. This process is called as ammonification. I am nitrifying bacteria. I convert the ammonia molecule into nitrate molecules. The process of conversion of ammonia and its salts into nitrates and nitrites is called nitrification. During rainy season, when clouds clashes with each other, lightning takes place. During lightning, atmospheric nitrogen combines with oxygen to form oxides of nitrogen. These oxides dissolve in rain to form a dilute solution of nitric acid. Natural nitrogen fixation takes place by this way. Absorption of nitrogen compounds by roots. Plants synthesize proteins from nitrogenous compounds. When animals eat plants, nitrogenous compounds enters animal's body. When animals excrete, these wastes will decompose and accumulate into the soil as nitrogenous compound. Some amount of nitrogenous compounds are absorbed by plants. I am nitrifying bacteria. I convert the nitrogenous compounds into nitrogen gas. The conversion of nitrates in the soil into free gaseous nitrogen is denitrification. I rejoined the atmosphere. Atmospheric nitrogen, nitrogen fixation by bacteria, nitrogen compounds formation by bacteria, nitrogenous compounds in soil. Lightning fixes nitrogen, nitrogenous compounds uptake by plants, animal eat plants, and when excrete, animal waste also contain nitrogenous compounds. Bacteria turn compounds of nitrogen into gaseous nitrogen. Again, it goes back into atmospheric nitrogen. The nitrogen cycle is the cyclic movement of nitrogen element between biotic and abiotic components.
All of you seen the video? Students, till now we have studied about harmful microorganisms, different types of diseases caused by microorganisms in plants, animals and even human beings, and also we have studied different methods of food preservation, also about nitrogen fixation and nitrogen cycle. Now, are you ready to answer few MCQ questions? Students, are you ready with your book? Okay. First question, partial sterilization of a product such as milk at a high temperature is known as? Options are pasteurization, filtration, pickling, refrigeration. Yes, you are correct. Answer is pasteurization. Second question, carrier of malaria causing protozoan is? Options are male Anopheles mosquito, female Anopheles mosquito, female Aedes mosquito, D. housefly. Yes, students, you are correct. Female Anopheles mosquito. Third question, which disease is caused by bacteria? Options are malaria, polio, chickenpox, tuberculosis. Yes, you are correct. Tuberculosis. Next question, which one of the following is not a method of food preservation? Options are pickling, drying, boiling and salting. Correct option is boiling. You are right. Students, now I am going to give you few questions for home assignment. Please write down these questions and answer these questions. Okay. First question, mention any 3 ways through which pathogens are transmitted. Second question, list any 4 diseases transmitted through the air. Third question, name any 3 common plant diseases. Fourth question, draw a neat label diagram of nitrogen cycle. Dear students, in these 3 sessions, we studied about wonderful world of microorganisms. We discussed about uses of microorganisms. Also, we studied about harmful microorganisms, also the diseases caused by these microorganisms. And last, we have studied about food preservation techniques and also nitrogen fixation. Students, in this particular chapter, we studied in detail about importance of microorganisms and personal hygiene in our day-to-day life. So, thank you students. Namaste.